Okay, for this next lesson, we're actually going to get a web page started. We're going to do a little bit of coding, but before we do that, we're going to need to use a couple tools to get us started. So if you haven't already, you need to download the application Text Wrangler, which is a text editor for the Macintosh, or Notepad++ for a Windows operating system. You'll also need to download the zip file called week1zip and extract that on your desktop. If you only open it on Windows and do not extract it on the desktop, we will not be able to view that file in the browser. Okay. So first of all, let's just look at what we have here. So in the folder My Website, I'm going to open that up. We have our index.html file, which I'm going to explain in a little bit. And then we also have this picture of this kind of ordinary looking cat. And so we're going to come back to that in a second. We're going to put that picture into our web page, among other things. So first what we want to do is open up our index.html file in Text Wrangler so we can see the code and edit the code from scratch. So to do that, you're not going to double click on it, because if you do, it's going to open up into a text browser by default. So you want to do a right click and then open with the application that you're going to use for an editor. In my case, I'm going to be using Text Wrangler, so I'm going to go down to the bottom here and select Text Wrangler. If you're using Notepad++ and you've installed that, that should show up by right-clicking and opening with on Windows too. So I'm going to open up Text Wrangler here. So basically, this is our web page, and I'm going to explain how this code works, how this markup works here, and what each section means. So first of all, what we have up here is the doc type and the HTML tag. Now, I will say this once, and I don't want you to ever worry about it again. You do not have to memorize what this is, okay? Every time I make a web page, anytime any designer makes a web page, they're copying and pasting this. So nobody really memorizes this. This is just the standard document type definition that tells the browser this is going to be an HTML web page. So I want you to render it as you would any other HTML web page, okay? So the next part of our document is the head section. And now the head section, if you think about a human body, our brain is the information that tells us how we're supposed to work. It gives us any extra information to tell us to remember our name. In this case, it tells the web page to remember the title. But also in the head is where we're going to add information like links to documents that tell us how to render our web page, styles that make our web page colorful, help us organize our content. Now, that's not going to come for another couple videos, but that's something that you should be thinking about as we move along. The next section here is the body section. This is where we'll be placing all of our content. So any text, any pictures, any bulleted lists, any divs, so any sections that we want to create to block up our web page. We're going to create all of that inside the body. So the body is where we're going to be doing most of our work. Now, as you see, the head has an opening tag and a closing tag. The body has an opening tag and a closing tag. And then the entire page is wrapped in the HTML tag, and the HTML tag closes down here, okay? So I want to go back to show you, if we look at our My Website folder, basically anytime you call a web page, you're calling a specific document on somebody else's computer, or what they would call a server. And that specific document is going to be inside a folder. So basically, if you think at a very basic level about Google.com, Google.com has a root folder with a file in it called index that when you call up Google, it will open up their index file. Basically, when you're doing any kind of web design, as long as you have an index.html file in your folder, the website server will go to that by default and know it's supposed to be the home page. Okay, so let's do a little bit of coding here and make our first web page. Now, the tradition in any kind of website design instruction is that the first thing you put on your web page is "Hello World." The World Wide Web made it possible for people to communicate outside of themselves and to the rest of the world for the first time. And so that kind of became the standard. So we're going to start off with an opening p tag. Excuse me, I had my caps locks on. Opening p tag, and then type "Hello World." Close that p tag. And we are going to save that by either saying Command S on Mac or Control S on Windows. And then we are going to go and open our web browser. I prefer using Firefox. It just has the least amount of problems or compatibility issues with any type of code we're writing. And Internet Explorer sometimes has some problems with that. So I'm going to use Firefox, and you can use whatever you would like. So to get our file open, I'm going to go up to File and say Open File. And now under Open File, I'm going to find on the desktop that I have this folder here called My Website and open up index.html. And now what we see here is our first coded web page. We have "Hello World" written in a paragraph format up at the top of the page. Now obviously this isn't very exciting. We need to do a lot of other things with the web page. But you can see that right away you are now able to write content to a web page.